Hello, everyone. 5 years after stepping away from the grandeur of Buckingham Palace, Harry and Meghan's much-touted fresh start in California has become a striking mix of contradictions, bold moves, and endless PR efforts. Residing in their sprawling 14-bedroom, $6 million Montecito mansion, they project a polished image of happiness and purpose. However, beneath this glossy exterior lies a narrative that feels increasingly superficial. With the Duchess launching her latest Netflix endeavor, a so-called joy-filled lifestyle series, it's hard to ignore the transparent attempt at rebranding herself as a modern-day wellness icon. From cooking for celebrity friends to sharing motherly advice on a picturesque lawn, it all seems more about appearances than genuine substance. Meghan's so-called American Riviera Orchard brand seems more focused on promoting an idealized version of herself than genuinely connecting with her audience. At the same time, Harry, caught in constant legal battles with the UK press and government, appears to wrestle with balancing his Californian lifestyle and his lingering ties to Britain. His ongoing fights over security and media intrusion seem less like heartfelt concerns and more like a prolonged PR effort to stay in the spotlight. Meghan's upcoming Netflix series seems poised to be yet another overly polished and ultimately hollow attempt to keep the spotlight on her. Promising candid conversations and practical tips, it hints at guest appearances from celebrity friends, strategically chosen to bolster the Sussexes' A-list ambitions. Mindy Kaling's light-hearted comments about enjoying good food with Meghan only add to the sense of superficiality surrounding the project. Are we really expected to be impressed by Meghan's ability to host a dinner party? The brief inclusion of Archie and Lilibet raises serious questions. After years of criticizing media intrusion into their children's lives, their sudden decision to feature them feels opportunistic at best. How does this align with their repeated calls for privacy? The hypocrisy couldn't be more obvious. While Meghan chases the spotlight with her lifestyle ventures, Harry seems stuck in the past, consumed by grievances. His ongoing legal battles in the UK, particularly over security arrangements, depict a man unable or unwilling to move forward. His claim that he cannot bring his family to the UK without adequate protection is perplexing, given that many other royals manage similar visits without issue. Harry's strained relationship with Prince William and the wider royal family remains a lingering issue. His complaints about unanswered calls to King Charles and claims of neglect feel less like genuine attempts at reconciliation and more like strategic moves to control the public narrative. Their European connections, through property in Portugal and ties to Princess Eugenie, come across as a thinly veiled effort to cling to royal prestige while simultaneously distancing themselves from it. Their Montecito lifestyle, with its beach, strolls, and star-studded dinners, stands in stark contrast to the monarchy's long-held values of duty and service. Even their commendable involvement in the Invictus Games cannot entirely shake the perception that their pursuits often feel self-serving. The upcoming Vancouver Whistler winter event may draw some attention, but it seems unlikely to repair the damage caused by repeated PR missteps and the fatigue of constant overexposure. The timing of Meghan's Netflix series launch speaks volumes. With their multi-million-dollar deal reaching its 5-year mark, the pressure to deliver meaningful content is palpable. However, early signs suggest this series will be yet another vanity project lacking authenticity. Mark Borkowski's advice to steer clear of shallow content now seems more relevant than ever. The homemade jam and dog biscuits sent to celebrity friends as part of Meghan's brand launch feel comically out of touch. Are we really to believe this represents the height of her creative vision? Her attempts to merge royal sophistication with Californian casualness result in an awkward blend that satisfies neither audience. 5 years into their Californian adventure, Harry and Meghan's experiment has been, at best, a mixed success. While they've achieved financial independence and created a life far removed from royal obligations, their constant pursuit of the spotlight has undermined their claims of seeking peace and privacy. What began as a chance to modernize the monarchy and forge a unique path has instead become a tale of wasted goodwill. The Sussexes are no longer the relatable, progressive royals they once aspired to be. They've become a cautionary example of what happens when ambition overshadows authenticity. Their Californian dream now resembles less of a fresh start and more of a gilded cage of their own making. With each new venture, the Sussexes seem to drift further from the values they once claimed to uphold, leaving many questioning what remains of their original vision. As Netflix and other platforms invest millions in their projects, it becomes evident that their strategy revolves around Meghan positioning herself as the lead in her own carefully crafted narrative. Her glossy lifestyle series, promising a joy-filled story, ultimately feels like a hollow exercise in branding. The meticulously staged appearances by celebrity guests, the picture-perfect visuals of family life, and the constant emphasis on authenticity only highlight how contrived it all feels. Most puzzling is the decision to feature their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, in snippets of the show. After years of demanding privacy for their kids, this sudden shift comes across as blatantly opportunistic. Using their own family moments to enhance Meghan's on-screen persona raises a critical question. Is there anything they won't monetize? The launch of Meghan's long-awaited lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, marks yet another effort to capitalize on the couple's fading royal ties. From jars of homemade jam to dog biscuits gifted to A-list celebrities, the brand markets itself as a charming yet luxurious slice of Montecito living. But beneath the surface, it feels more like elitism thinly veiled as relatability. The Duchess's branding seems tailored to captivate a global audience eager for a taste of royal elegance. Yet critics are already questioning its authenticity. How can someone immersed in the world of Hollywood elites genuinely connect with the average consumer? The contrast between luxury and supposed simplicity only underscores how disconnected the Sussexes have become. While Meghan takes the spotlight with her various ventures, Harry's role seems to be increasingly sidelined. His occasional appearances, whether at the Invictus Games or involved in legal disputes in the UK, present the image of a man struggling to carve out his own path away from the constant glare of his wife's PR efforts. In their Montecito home, he often seems more like a supporting player than an equal partner. As Meghan continues to embrace the cameras and carefully craft her public persona, Harry wrestles with his identity in a world that feels far removed from the royal traditions he once knew. This imbalance has not gone unnoticed, with many now speculating that Harry's role has shifted to a more reactive one, a stark contrast to the proactive advocate he once aspired to be. The Sussexes' Montecito lifestyle is full of contradictions. They portray themselves as deeply involved in their community, attending charity events and socializing with local elites. Yet, their lives remain steeped in exclusivity, far removed from the everyday struggles of Californians. Stories of their close-knit community are often paired with images of private beach outings, lavish dinner parties, and luxury vacations. While they may position themselves as advocates for the people, their actions tell a different story, one of privilege and separation. Initially, Netflix's partnership with Harry and Meghan was seen as a major win, but the platform now faces the difficult task of justifying its hefty investment. While their projects generate plenty of buzz, the actual content often falls short of expectations. Meghan's lifestyle series, in particular, risks becoming another example of vanity-driven content. shiny on the outside but lacking substance. Critics are already pointing out the heavy reliance on Meghan's star power and questioning whether the couple can produce content that appeals beyond their loyal followers. With Netflix tightening its budget due to slowing subscriber growth, Sussexes now face the challenge of justifying their hefty price tag. Meghan and Harry's public personas are a delicate balancing act. They aim to maintain their royal charm while also trying to present themselves as down-to-earth, relatable figures. This duality is at the heart of their brand, but it's also its biggest flaw. Their Montecito lifestyle, filled with multi-million-dollar deals and celebrity friendships, clashes with their efforts to connect with everyday people. Their portrayal of modern royalty often comes across as inauthentic, a carefully crafted image that falls apart under closer inspection. The Invictus Games remain one of Harry's most meaningful contributions to society, but even this admirable initiative hasn't escaped the couple's constant branding efforts. Their joint appearances at events like the Vancouver Whistler Gathering increasingly seem like staged photo opportunities, designed more to keep them in the public eye than to genuinely support the cause. While the games themselves are undoubtedly impactful, the Sussexes' involvement raises questions about their true motivations. Are they there to spotlight the athletes, or is it just another chance to promote their personal brand? Harry's ongoing legal battles in the UK add another layer of complexity to their story. His demand for increased security for his family, despite the significant resources already available to them, has sparked criticism for seeming entitled. These legal disputes continue to serve as a reminder of the Sussexes' difficulty in letting go of the past. While they claim to be building a new life in California, their actions suggest they're still deeply tied to the grievances of their royal past. Over the past 5 years, Harry and Meghan have cemented their place as divisive figures. To their supporters, they are pioneers, challenging outdated norms and carving their own path. To their critics, they represent unchecked privilege and self-absorption. This divide is at the core of their public image. The Sussexes have perfected the art of staying in the limelight, but at what cost? Their constant pursuit of validation through media appearances and PR stunts has alienated many, leaving them with a shrinking base of true supporters. As they continue to pursue their Californian dream, the Sussexes face an uncertain future. Their brand, built on a blend of royal nostalgia and modern celebrity, seems to be at a crossroads. The next few years will be critical in determining whether they can maintain their relevance or fade into obscurity. One thing is certain: Harry and Meghan's journey is far from over. But whether they will be remembered as true changemakers or mere footnotes in royal history is yet to be seen. For now, they remain trapped in the paradox of their own making. A life of freedom that feels anything but free. Is there a more frustratingly contradictory couple than Harry and Meghan? They've practically mastered the art of contradiction, claiming to seek privacy while opening up their lives to the cameras, preaching authenticity while presenting a carefully crafted image, and rejecting the constraints of royal life only to immerse themselves in commercialized royalty. These contradictions aren't just occasional missteps, they're the very essence of their brand. Take Meghan, for instance, a self-proclaimed feminist and advocate for equality. Here's a woman who criticizes the outdated royal system for its rigid hierarchy, yet she uses her Duchess title to fuel her relevance, capitalizing on the Sussex name with Netflix deals, Spotify podcasts marketed as royal insider knowledge, and even her ill-fated children's book, which leaned heavily on her royal ties. Meghan seems blissfully unaware that her feminist rhetoric falls flat when she's benefiting from the very privileges she claims to despise. Still, she portrays herself as a victim, a misunderstood heroine in her own story of oppression. It's almost laughable how she frames every criticism as evidence of systemic bias or misogyny. No, Meghan, it's not the patriarchy questioning your sincerity. It's your own actions. The public didn't turn against you because of your gender or ethnicity. They did so because your every move feels calculated, not genuine. And then there's Harry, the once beloved prince who has become a walking contradiction. He wants to be seen as a down-to-earth family man, yet he attracts media attention that would make even a Kardashian blush. He wants to escape the royal bubble, yet he clings to his title as though it's his last lifeline. Harry's transformation, from the cheeky spare to a man stuck in a cycle of victimhood, feels less like deep reflection and more like the tantrums of someone unable to move past his own grievances. And then there's that memoir. Did the world really need to hear about the frostbite incident or his teenage antics? Harry's tendency to overshare was so overwhelming that it's hard to reconcile with someone who claims to despise the media. Yet, he seems strangely eager to spill every intimate detail of his life for public consumption. What was supposed to be their pursuit of independence has instead turned into an exhausting cycle of contradictions. They've traded royal duties for Hollywood deals and public service for personal branding. What's frustrating is their constant habit of blaming others for their mistakes. Meghan complains about not getting the fairy tale support she wanted, while Harry accuses his family of ignoring him. They always position themselves as the victims. Even their choices as parents have been met with doubt. They criticize the press for invading their children's privacy, but they don't hesitate to use Archie and Lilibet in their public relations. Whether it's a brief glimpse of one of their kids or a well-timed story, it's all part of the Sussex show. The children are presented as symbols of their perfect life, but it makes you wonder if they're growing up as props in their parents' constant chase for attention. Let's talk about their involvement in activism. It's hard to take them seriously when they preach about the environment while flying around in private jets. Their mental health efforts sound good in theory, but airing their personal struggles publicly hasn't really helped reduce the stigma. In fact, it sometimes seems like it only highlights their tendency to see themselves as victims. Even their charity work doesn't feel entirely genuine. The Archewell Foundation, with all its big promises, often seems more about boosting their image than creating real change. While some of their initiatives are admirable, they often take the spotlight, overshadowing the causes they claim to support. It's not enough for them to help others. They also make sure everyone knows about it, showing off their Montecito lifestyle. In reality, their life is the perfect picture of privilege disguised as being real. They act like just another family trying to get by. But their life is anything but typical. Luxurious dinners, exclusive parties, and massive homes. This isn't the life of two people who left behind the royal world. It's the life of two people who traded one fancy cage for another. What's frustrating is how they seem to ignore the relationships they've hurt along the way. Their distance from the royal family, while clearly painful for everyone, has turned into a public spectacle. Harry and Meghan have turned their personal issues into drama for everyone to watch. It's tough to see how they could ever reconcile when every attempt to make peace is met with more accusations. Yet, they keep claiming they're moving forward. Moving on from what? Zachary? From the royal family they never stop discussing? From the attention they continue to seek? From the privileges that have allowed them to live the way they do? Harry and Meghan's idea of moving on seems to involve a never-ending loop of self-pity, self-promotion, and self-delusion. It's heartbreaking to think that there was a time when the world really wanted to cheer for Harry and Meghan. Harry, the brave prince who had faced so much loss, and Meghan, the modern duchess, who could have brought a fresh outlook to the monarchy. But instead of creating something meaningful, they've wasted their chance on petty complaints and empty projects. They've turned into exaggerated versions of themselves, not symbols of progress, but of entitlement and contradiction. The Sussex story goes on, a constant display of confusion and missed chances. Hopefully, one day, Harry and Meghan will realize that real freedom isn't about abandoning royal titles or making deals worth millions. Living with integrity seems to have slipped away from them along the way. And here we are, once again, caught in the endless story of Harry and Meghan, full of contradictions, controversy, and a spotlight they say they don't want, but can't seem to escape. From their grand mansion in Montecito to their constant push for media attention, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex continue to puzzle everyone with their actions. They've worked hard to shape themselves as misunderstood outsiders while living a life that many could only dream of. But what's the price? Relationships strained, trust questioned, and a legacy that once had potential now seems like a lesson in excess and entitlement. Their story may draw people in, but it's tough to ignore the obvious hypocrisy followings them everywhere they go. Will Harry and Meghan ever escape the constant whirlwind of controversy? It's hard to say, but one thing is for sure. They've certainly kept the world talking. What do you think about their decisions? Are they misunderstood? Pioneers creating their own way? Or is this just an ongoing cycle of drama they bring on themselves? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Sussex story, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and share it with friends who might enjoy it too. Also, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. There's so much more to explore about the royal family, and we've got plenty of insights, analysis, and even a bit of witty commentary lined up for you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next video.